Hi everybody, welcome to the Revolution Art Society vlog. I'll be doing these once a month, just covering some things that maybe don't really fit into the podcast format. So I'm sharing out on social media and in the newsletter this Ancestral Messages tarot spread that I came up with. It came to me as I was thinking about reflecting on the things that I learned from the book Take Back the Magic, which is a book about communicating with your ancestors. And one of the things that Perdita Finn talks about in that book is that even if you had a difficult relationship with your ancestors, that doesn't mean that they are not here to support you. And she also suggests, if you're open to it, using tarot as an entry point into communicating with the ancestors. And I really liked that invitation. And I'd never used tarot to try to communicate with sort of a specific entity. I was always sort of generally trying to communicate with the universe, I think. So I liked that idea, and this tarot spread came to me. And so I'm sharing that out. And please let me know if you try it out and if it resonates with you. I'd love to hear if it's a useful spread. That's always like an interesting thing. This is the first spread that I've created myself. So please let me know. And so I wanted to actually share the reading that I got with the spread, which was part of why I felt like maybe I should share this, because it was a really beautiful reading that I received. And so I used this spread to communicate with my maternal grandmother, who I call Nanny. That's the Hindi word for grandmother, for maternal grandmother. And she and I definitely had a difficult relationship, especially when I was growing up. I think that, there's lots of sort of ancestral trauma around the relationships between mothers and daughters, and, that extended to grandmothers and granddaughters. And so I never really felt like she saw me or supported me or was proud of me. And so when I encountered Perdita Finn's idea that once the dead cross over into the, behind the veil, and they can see the full pattern of life in the universe, that a lot of those blocks go away, and they see you, the living, as you want to be seen as you're meant to be seen, and they want to support you and love you the way that you want to be supported and loved. And so that felt like a really nice invitation to reach out to my grandmother, who, still was very important to me. And, I did some artwork in the past inspired by her, but this is a way to kind of welcome her into my life in a more personal way. And so I did this spread, and I just wanted to share the messages that came through with you, to give you a sense of maybe what the spread is about. Okay, so this is the spread that came up for this reading with my grandmother. And so when I was reaching out to my grandmother, the question that I had was around some events that had kind of taken place in my life, in our family's life, that had led to some financial uncertainty, some just uncertainty in life and where things were going, and my feeling that the things that I was trying to manifest in my life felt like a little out of reach. And I just wanted insight and support from my grandmother around this. So I'm going to move from left to right, going over the different positions in the spread. So this is the first card. And the question for the first card is, what do you want to show me that I can't see? And so here the 9 of Wands came up. And just, when I first laid these cards out, what you can kind of see is that we sort of have like these two reversed ones, which could mean, kind of a blocked sense of your like your force, your will, your drive. But when I sort of dove a little deeper, in particular looking at Rachel Pollack's interpretation of these cards in 78 Degrees of Wisdom, and in comparison to the second two cards in the spread, reading all of these together, I was able to see that actually these two cards, that was not quite the message that they were sending. So the Nine of Wands reversed, this could mean becoming overwhelmed, but really it's a reversal of the position, the upright position, which is this sense of defense. And so what does it mean to let down your defenses? And so sometimes that can mean to be defeated, but sometimes that can mean a kind of liberation. So maybe you're taking a risk, so that can feel scary, but you're also freeing up your energy because you were putting your energy into defending that position, and that it was becoming a lot. And that reading of that card becomes, I think, very clear when you look at the second card, which is, what do you want to tell me that I can't hear? And this is the Two of Wands reversed. And Rachel Pollack quotes Arthur Waite in saying that this card reversed is surprise, wonder, enchantment, trouble, and fear. And so she describes this as the exact emotion that you would feel if you were leaping into something. You were jumping into a new experience, and you were leaving behind your past success to enter the unknown, liberating your emotions and energy. So again, these two cards, when you look at them together, are really talking about a kind of liberation through the loss. So, Two of Wands upright is about success. And so what does this mean to leave success behind? Because another thing that Rachel Pollack says about the Two of Wands that I really like when it's upright is that it's success, but also the figure, they're in this, kind of looks sort of like a castle. They're sort of high above, everyone else. And so there is this sort of, monetary success, but then they're looking at the world, like they're looking for the next thing. And so reverse could mean kind of going for that next thing without knowing what it is. And I feel like those readings are reinforced by then, like the next two readings, the next two cards. So the third card is, the question for that is, how can you support me? And so this is just asking that, given this situation, how can my grandmother support me in this time? And the King of Wands came up. And so immediately I read this as thinking about my mindset and making sure that my mindset was not getting sort of thrown about by the different things that were happening in my life. So the symbolism in this card, the gold crown is symbolizing, the mind. Then the purple robes, they don't really look purple here, but I guess in other versions of this card, it's more clear that it's purple, but that sort of signifies wisdom. And then the red in his headdress and in his kind of underneath his robe also signify action. And similarly, his sword is not pointed straight up and down like the Queen of Swords. It's pointed slightly to his right. And so that signifies action. And what Rachel Pollack says is that this card, in its sort of highest expression, is the Justice card. And it's a very similar, feel to the Justice card in a lot of ways. And the Justice card is my card of the year. And so that to me is really pointing to being able to look at the larger patterns in my life, and especially the larger thought patterns that I've been having, and how are those affecting me, and how can I gain a kind of mastery over those things. And then the final card, which I felt was just like this really nice, sort of sweet message to help sort of sweeten the rest of this reading, which is really a call to enter into a very uncomfortable space of the unknown and take action, is the Nine of Cups. And the question for the fourth card is, how can I offer my gratitude? And so this card is really about, how do I offer my gratitude to my ancestors for their support? And the Nine of Cups, when I first saw this, I immediately thought of the interpretation that I think I first learned of this card, which is that it means that your wish is going to come true, that you have a wish and that it's going to come true. And so I initially thought of this as, I'm taking action towards the things that I want, and that is a way of showing gratitude. And I definitely think that is part of the message of this, is that even if I don't know exactly how I'm going to manifest the things that I want, that I still do need to take action from this place of mental clarity and mastery. However, the Nine of Cups is also just a little more mundane. It's about feasting and physical contentment. It's about focusing on daily pleasures. And so then I realized, well, if my grandmother is with me, I'm calling on her for her support and guidance, that she takes joy in me taking joy in the everyday sorts of things. And in the past, I think, during similar times of uncertainty, I would spend a lot of time worrying about the future. And I felt like this card was telling me, try to see find the positive moments in this time, and really dive headfirst into those. So, my partner doesn't have a job right now, but that means we can spend more time together. And that means that we can enjoy, our family. And that means that, we might not have a lot of money to spend, but we can do fun things with our son and make wonderful memories together. And even beyond trying to go out and find things to do, like, we're going to try to go to this museum or go to that thing. It's just taking a moment or finding the moments every day that I can just sit with some kind of sweet little thing that my son is doing. Like the other day, he decided he roped the whole family into playing a little game of, it wasn't really catch because he can't quite catch yet, but we were passing a ball around the living room, and he was just so happy. And it was nice to just sit in that happiness without this sense of worry about the future. So, so that I felt was the message from my grandmother, was, to really trust in myself, trust in my growth, and really key in on my thought patterns and jump into the unknown, and know that that's going to be uncomfortable, but find those moments of comfort in my everyday life. So I was really, pleasantly surprised by this reading from my grandmother. And I invite you to use the Ancestral Messages spread, and let me know in the comments what your readings were, who you talked to, what messages came through. I'd love to know if this is a useful spread, because it is, again, the first one that I have created. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.